Standing at the edge of the world, watching as she looks away. Everything around her was gone, lost in a dreamland.
Mic check, mic check.
Staring off the edge of the earth, the ground beneath her slips away. Her body doesn't feel like it's hers. She is dreaming. She woke up from a night in love when the dream she had. She was in her bed, lying there with her eyes still shut, trying to picture us, trying to play it back. I can make your dreams come true.
All right, all right. Looks like everyone's getting situated. How's everyone doing? Awesome. Good to hear it. Welcome to DevX. I hope you guys are having a good time. My name is Sam, if you haven't met me already. One of the co-founders and volunteers here over at DevX. So if you haven't met me yet, hello. Yeah, big shout out to, or a big welcome to newcomers and also people that are routinely coming to our events. We've been doing this for probably how long? 2 years now, since 2023. So glad to keep it going. Glad to see some new faces and some familiar ones. But just a little bit about us. What are we all about? For those that don't know, we're just about developers. It's very, very simple. There's a lot of tech meetups throughout the county, throughout the world. We decided to do one that's just about you, the developer. Topics come and go. Last year, maybe it was like, or a couple years ago, could have been crypto. That's the big hype thing to talk about. These days, it's AI, right? And who knows what that's going to be a couple years from now. We want to stay current and just focus on you, the developer. And it's all about developers by San Diego. That's in the name, in case you're wondering. So our goal is to enable you to become the best developer you can be. So that's what we're all about as a community. We do that by connecting developers together at any skill level, including like no skill level. If you're completely new, we welcome you, and we welcome you to the developer experience. We also love to inspire by giving you a platform or a voice such as this, inspire others, inspire each other, and hopefully we do that for you guys, as well as to build perhaps the next big thing, right? Through collaboration and meetups like this. We get together and we meet each other first time, and we get a spark of energy, and we build something cool. So that's like our 3 things that we focus on. A little bit more about our events. We have You're at the Weekend function right now. Welcome. We do this every 3rd Saturday of the month. We try to keep it consistent. So thanks again for coming and being consistent with us. We also have Fridays throughout the month, our co-routine events, which are smaller like get-togethers at coffee shops or co-working spaces where you guys could just like hang out and have like more one-on-one personal time. But more importantly, it's like a routine place where you can show up and do your actual work with each other. So if you're a work from home type, maybe this is good for you to break that flow or break that your routine up. We also had a really fun event that we want to do again. So if you guys are, who here knows about like OpenClaw or that sort of thing? Cool, we're all familiar. That was a really fun event. We want to keep it going. We haven't yet done another one. But if you guys are interested in doing or being involved in that, let me know. We're looking for volunteers, people in the space that want to talk about Claw, OpenClaw, NanoClaw, whatever it may be, AI, agentic stuff. But we haven't set the next date for that one yet. So if you guys are interested, talk to me about that. That's the next type of format we want to keep going. So these are all of our events. You can check these out on our website or our Luma. Big shout out to our volunteers, AJ, Angel, over here DJing, Jonathan, where you at, in the back, Ezekiel in the back with the colorful hair, as always, as well as myself, Sam. Big round of applause to you guys for making this happen and keeping this going. I really appreciate you guys. Also on that note, if you guys are interested in volunteering, please let me know as well, or any one of us. Reach out, because we are always looking for helping hands. We're 100% community driven. If you guys want to be a part of a community, maybe have your face on our website, or be up on stage talking, like this is your opportunity we're giving to you. So let us know. We love to facilitate that for you guys. Big shout out to our host of the event today and every other weekend function for probably, gosh, how many years? Edge, this is Edge HQ. Edge is a crypto platform and app for you to self-custody your assets. I mentioned crypto probably earlier for that reason. Big disclaimer, I actually work for Edge. So big bias on checking them out. Go to edge.app. We also are open source, 100%, apart from some like back-end infrastructure stuff, but you can view all of the client, what you do with your crypto. It's all visible at github.com/edgeapp. And if you're interested in doing open source contributions, let us know and put out a PR, maybe put on some AI on there. We'll try to get to a review on that. But yeah, big clap to Edge for hosting this and giving this platform. So appreciate it. Yeah, they're technically one of our sponsors for the current event. So thank you, Edge, for sponsoring by giving us the space. Facilities. So if you guys haven't and need to connect to the Wi-Fi and maybe you've been tethering, Edge Guest is our Wi-Fi. Password is I like big bits. I think we should change that. Restrooms exit the front door to the left all the way down. And if there is a door code needed, 1595. All right, to our agenda. Presentation started a little bit later today, but that's okay. Usually we start at 1, but we'll get this started, the show on the road. We have 2 speakers today. We'll do that for about an hour, give or take. After that, we like to do community announcements. This is a small 15-minute segment where you have the option to come up on stage, say hello to the community, tell us why you're here, introduce yourself. Short 15-second, low barrier to entry type shout out to anyone. Maybe you came here to look for someone to connect with, or maybe you came here just to say hi and stay connected. So that's your opportunity. Maybe tell others about events and things like that. And then after that, we go back to networking, hanging out, building, talking about the talks, maybe doing some more, basically what we were doing earlier. And then around 4 o'clock, we'll close it up. So soft 4 o'clock. We're not too sticklers about that unless we're feeling tired. But I think we've got some good energy in the room today. So, okay, about our speakers, speaking of, we have Tyler going to be talking about minds and models, a little bit about how AI learns and how humans learn and how that connects. So that's a very interesting topic I'm very curious about. After following Tyler, we'll have Andy talk about Agent Vouch. Very interesting, very cool platform. Trust layer for the agent economy is the way we put it. Lot to unpack there, so I'll keep it suspenseful for you. So with that said, I'd love to welcome to the stage Tyler. Where are you at? There you are. Please, a round of applause for Tyler to talk about minds and models.
All right, it should be on now. Can you hear me on that? Yeah, cool, awesome. And I'm still checking out this, no signal. Okay. Do I maybe get a full screen for a second? Or?
Let me see here. Hopefully it's not wigging out. It's not registered yet. Okay, that's fun.
Also, like, we can go to another computer if you want to go back to that one. Perfect. Awesome. Thanks. I'm just gonna
The music helped.
refresh it. It did. It did help. Okay, wait. Just let me just. Can I refresh? Wait, I want to refresh this real quick. Is it refreshing? No. Oh, here. Okay, cool. All right. Hey, y'all. My name is Tyler Lindo. And this is my talk today. It's minds and models. And as you can read here, it's thinking about how the human mind and maybe the AI mind, if you will, how those connect. And it's also, why is it important for us as developers, as software engineers, and generally just builders and makers of things. That's like, I think we all kind of associate that in some way. And this is my first question for us is, if AI can think for us, are we still learning? And actually, this is actually an open question. I don't know if we can give someone a mic, but I'm actually curious if someone wants to try to like answer this question in some way. So.
How about you just repeat the answer?
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
say again?
If someone wants to answer, you can just repeat it into your mic.
Okay, great. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's assuming that we're already learning without AI.
Okay. Yeah. So he said that's assuming if we're already learning without AI. I think someone else had a hand up.
I think at a minimum, we would still be learning how to use AI.
Okay. Learning how to use AI. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. There's some sort of. I think a lot of us are learning right now. I just talked to Rich in the front. He was like, "Yeah, on the last couple of months, I've just been figuring out how there's just playing with AI a lot. Like there's a lot of stuff with AI that you can learn. So yeah, absolutely. I think there's something going on there. Yeah.
I build I have Claude Code take a book that I haven't read yet and turn it into like a learning module for me. I feel like it accelerates my learning because I don't have to read every page. I can kind of go through the workflows and the exercises that I'm going through.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So it's accelerating my learning.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's your name too? Was it? Reed. So Reed said, accelerating my learning by helping me like summarize books or sort of even maybe break down books into like chunkable segments so that you can actually like gain something from it rather than just sort of, I don't know, trying to consume the whole book at once. Like that's I don't know. So any other thoughts on this? If AI is thinking for us, are we still learning? Yeah, over. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that yes, we're still learning, but maybe not all the same details.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of the syntax of a language that I've never learned, I don't need to learn it anymore because AI is just taking care of that detail for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not learning whatever it is that I'm creating. I'm still learning about that process, what works, what doesn't work, just different level.
Yeah. So a different level of learning. So yeah. Here he said, what was your name too?
Sandeep.
Sandeep said, yeah, maybe we are still learning, but we're learning at a different level. So my hypothesis, this is my answer to this question, is that I think we're actually underinvesting in human learning today. And by extension, human making. And I'll kind of say why there's that extension here. And my claim is, the reason I'm sort of questioning this and asking this question is because technology models today have diverged from human learning since the advent of AI. So that's my hypothesis, and I'll get into that. First, a little bit about myself. Who am I? I like learning about making. So earlier in my career, I was actually a science workshop facilitator at UCSD. I don't know if anybody went to UCSD, but yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I facilitated chemistry workshops and did that. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. I was actually studying nanoengineering at UCSD, and so I got to like think a lot about the way that atoms and things work, and I was able to break down those concepts for undergraduate students. And I was an undergraduate myself, but I was just able to like work with my peers. And explain things that hopefully made a little bit more sense. And then after that, I was minoring in education at the time as well. And I went on to study this thing called the learning sciences at Northwestern in Chicago, or in Evanston in Illinois. And that was when I started to do research at museums. Actually, I actually worked at a museum. I did research at museums. I volunteered at museums. I was all about museums. And I was studying how people moved in museums. How did people interact? How do they learn in museums? A very different environments than traditional classroom learning. So that was the thing I did for a while. And then most recently, I led a team of developer support engineers at a firm. I led a team of developer support engineers at a firm. And also, I was a software engineering manager at a firm. And sort of like, what's the connection here? Developer support, we actually worked with a lot of, like, I was technical, but the folks that I worked with were very non-technical. I would often be on sort of like, it's like, oh gosh, like this is broken. Like, can you help me fix this? And I would be like, sure. Like, you know, how do we want to work on this? And like, oh well, just do it for me. Like, I'm the CEO. I'm not technical. Please fix it. And I was like, oh sure. Or that was like one that kind of hit. But there's also like folks from marketing and other places. Like I managed this e-commerce site and all this stuff. And it was sort of my job to figure out how to break down those technical things in a way that folks could understand and feel like, oh yeah, you supported me. And then most recently, I was a software engineering manager, taking my learnings from building ways to support other engineers and other small businesses and building the product to help them onboard onto the Affirm platform. And for Affirm, if you don't know what that is, it's a buy now, pay later technology. It's on a lot of websites nowadays. And yeah, I could talk about that for a length because I did this for 6.5 years at Affirm. But it's an interesting technology stack. And maybe this is not going forward, but let's go to the next one. This is going back to, so that was who am I, but originally I said, like, I'm thinking like, oh, I think we're under-investing in learning. Why do I think that? Why do I think, and my claim was that we're under-investing because we've seen a divergence in human learning and machine learning. And, but so if it's diverging now, it means I also have to make the claim that at some point it was very much closer together. And this is, if you've looked at history or researchers in this area of like the learning sciences, you'll see that each generation borrows their mental model about the mind from the latest technology, whether it's the steam engine or the web or the internet, and now AI. We're always trying to map our mental, like how we think about our brains to the newest technology. So you can see, like, even right now, it's like a very clear pattern, like working memory, oh, well, like RAM. Long-term memory, oh, that's writing to disk or writing to a database. Patterns like that we see in the world, schemas, and like we organize data in databases very particularly, just like patterns that, like in a menu, like when we look at a menu, we're like, oh yeah, the drinks are down here at the bottom. Like there's these human mental models that we have that we apply pretty directly to the way we build this technology of software that has kind of like been the most current kind of technology. And then the last thing is the mental. I also like drive this point home. The mental models of software and human learning match actually extremely well. I think probably the most that it has, like in like the steam engine, people thought like the brain was working like a steam engine. That's actually kind of like a stretch. But now software it's pretty. There's a lot of parallel here. And here's another question for us: is if models of human learning and software match, how did it happen that machines began to organize this information differently? So like, I'll let that sit for just a second. How did machines begin to organize this information in a way that started to make human minds and AI diverge? And this is a sort of a secondary question. I think that a question for this question is, why is it that we as humans cannot become an expert overnight? And I think this actually, I think I have a little time to, like, this is another thing. Why is it that we cannot become experts overnight? Maybe someone wants to answer this, or again, feel free to say something and I'll kind of repeat it for folks. Why can't humans become experts overnight? Yeah.
I'd say one thing is just
Mm.
And in order for certain like processes, just thinking, like automatic process, things have to become habit, they become automatic, but for them to get there, there's like a physiological process
Okay.
that has to occur in your nervous system.
Okay, got it. So like you're saying it's physiological, that it just, there's some sort of habit forming,
Yeah.
it's a build expertise. It's physiological for humans, and so that's why. And this, I'm answering this question, but do you have another sort of idea?
Can you define expert?
Yeah, what is expert? Yeah, this is a term in the learning sciences, like again, a field that I studied for a little bit. Is that experts, they define like folks who, there's like a research study about chess masters. Like what is a grandmaster, and like how do you like, I think it's like ELO score if anybody's plays chess, but they did this study like what makes a chess expert an expert, or what makes them a grandmaster. And there's a lot of research around this about chunking and schematization, that grandmasters are not looking at the chess pieces on the board, they're looking at much larger patterns and have even names for those things, and that allows them to be sort of like kind of manage their working memory, manage like their sort of, I don't know, intelligence, if you will, to be able to be really good at playing chess. So that's one thing. And did you have an answer maybe, or just a question?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the reason I ask is because if expertise is defined as recalling facts and knowledge and things like that, that's one thing. And if expertise is about being able to synthesize new, like novel discoveries and things like that in a specific field, then that's another thing which
Mm.
AI can't do either.
You said the last part,
Which AI
which AI
can't do.
can't do, yeah. So that's another good question. That's, I think, and what's your name?
I'm Kate.
Kate is talking about the idea that when we talk about expertise, we're often talking about, I think you're kind of alluding to, we're talking about humans. AI, it's kind of difficult for us to imagine AI as being an expert, but some people even say like, oh, AI is an expert at everything, or or it knows the world's knowledge, right? And like you can ask it anything, and it can actually, there's even like, right, we're doing these benchmarks with AI models that are like, oh, it's beating these tests, or it's like, it's thinking at like a PhD level for this and stuff like that. But I think this is a nice point you're making, is that it's like, well, what is expertise? And here's my answer, is because we can't learn the way that AI does, because we can't learn the way that AI does, and it's because humans learn by making. We make to learn. We're out in the world, we're doing things with our hands, and that's what tells us something about how we're learning. And I just want to show this number here about AI and human making. Gartner forecasts in 2026, 2.5 trillion will be spent in AI, as a comparison to the maker economy, which will be 0.25 trillion. So 10x less there's 10x more being spent on the AI economy. I know there's a hand up, but maybe we'll do questions at the end. But yeah, I just want to let that sink in. These are just numbers that I pulled off the web this morning, and I was like, huh, interesting. Like interesting that this is the state of these like economies between AI and as like sort of a mechanism for, let's say, thinking and learning. And then another sort of area of thinking and learning, like by doing, right? I think a lot of people kind of understand this as well. Like by doing, we engage in a lot of thinking and learning. We got 10x. We always talk about the people that, we always talk about the 10x developer, right? We've been chasing that. But if you look at this, where money is, AI is 10xing us. And so this is my thesis, and sort of the thing I want folks to take away, is that there's an opportunity for human learners and makers to get paid, because there is this gap. There is this sort of, you can say that, oh, we should invest more of our money in AI, but well, what about us? What is about us and the things that we want to create, the things that we enjoy out in this world, and what happens to if we're not making those things? So I'll leave with that. And this is the closing slide. I love for you to connect. If if you're like interested in anything I talked about, and these questions as well. What are you going to make today? How will you get paid for your craft? And I think that's like something we're probably all thinking about as we're networking and thinking about what's next for us. And then also this last one, I like hops. So if you like hops, please talk to me. But that is it. Thank you so much.
I think we have some time for some questions. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. And then Tyler, please repeat the question just for the live stream.
Yeah.
So any questions for anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's go. I think there was this gentleman here. What was your name? Tony. Yeah.
So for the 10x figure,
Yeah.
that's assuming that NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and every other computer company and data center isn't making anything.
What do you mean by that?
So you said makers are 0.25
Mm-hmm.
and AI is 2.5.
Yeah.
But most of that spending is on computer chips, and people still make computer chips. They design the chips. They write the software that builds them. They build the foundries. So what's the breakdown between maker and AI?
Sure. Yeah. So I think the breakdown is what is being defined. AI is a broad term, right? Where, like you said, computers and all the things that need to happen in order to host the models and develop the models and all that. That's 2.5 trillion, and that's a projection that Gartner made based on what we're seeing now. I think we're currently pretty close to $1 trillion being spent on this stuff, like in this current state. Yeah.
So
And
rephrase my question.
sure.
Why are you excluding money spent on AI from money spent on making?
It's totally different. Maybe just explain the other part. When I talk about maker economy, think about like Etsy. Think about, your small businesses out here locally in San Diego. That is 0.25 trillion in the world. Like that type of making, right? Now, I'm not talking about sort of the latest technology type making. I'm talking about, well, how do we...
Versus Costco.
Say again?
So like flea markets versus Costco, just for the corporate breakdown.
Maybe that's one way to think about it. I think it's more about maybe it's more about how are we building? I guess it's like getting I think there's like this sort of how are we building? What types of tools are we using to build? And it's like, I guess my argument here is think about what we build with our hands still today, and then think about what we're building with machines today. So I think that's maybe that opens sort of discussion there. Yeah. And there's a couple other questions maybe? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Eric.
Eric.
Just like, I guess, a little context on how I'm thinking about this. From my knowledge of like AI, it starts with like this idea of global optimization, and then it proceeds to this idea of like back propagation for parameter update, and then it proceeds to like this mechanism for attention, and then these like optimization evaluation loops for like how they work. And in my mind, that seems like a convergence kind of to the way that the human brain works. Like you have this system that can do optimization, and then you figure out how to update the connections in the system, and then you like give it the concept of like language and context, and then you give it the concept of like evaluation on the action that you took given the language and context. So that seems like it's getting closer to people's thought pattern. What is your perspective? Like what was the big, like how does your thesis lead to this idea of divergence?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for and then
Can you repeat the question on that one?
Yeah, if folks didn't quite get the question, or maybe I can sort of say it and again, is there's this whole process of training a model and getting to a point where you can, whether it's pre-training with some set of data or post-training, there's a whole process, and we're using a lot of we're leveraging a lot of our language, like data on the internet or other corpuses of data. It all kind of goes into this, and so I think you're saying kind of like Well, this seems very similar. Like, I think part of what you're asking is like, this seems very similar to the human mind. Like, if we're using language as the basis for these models, doesn't that mean that it's kind of replicating the human mind? And my sort of my thesis is that we're actually, or like I guess the claim that I was making is that actually we're diverging is because it's interesting. Yeah, this question is interesting because if you look back in history, the reason why we have AI models today is actually because they based the models on the brain. Like the same researchers who were making the machine learning scientists, those same people were like in the same room with the people who thought about human learning. Like they were reading each other's books. And so it is true that these models did exist. Like they came from a very similar place. Like they were in the same conversation. It's just that now when we see these things, it's like the other question I was asking is, well, why is it, what's preventing, if our models are the same, what's preventing us from 10xing our intelligence? Like, why are we not, how come we cannot, humans still cannot consume the world's information like AI models, but somehow the AI models can, and yet they kind of were rooted from the same thing. So that's why I'm saying they're diverging, because at once they actually were, like I think what you're saying, very, very similar. It's just that the mechanisms for how they continue onwards from now between humans and software and the machines that are running the software are diverging. Yeah.
Well, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
So,
Rich, yeah.
Yeah, what's your perspective on China banning AI for children in learning?
So what's the perspective on AI?
Yeah.
China banning AI
Yeah, for children.
for children? You
Yeah,
said?
they proposed a regulation in China to ban AI being used for children under certain.
Interesting question.
I don't, I only know so much about Chinese culture and, what this means for their learning economy and for like how they're building their society. I mean, I can't speak to it too much, but I think I think what like the point, or sort of the question within the question of like, should we be using AI to learn? Like even I think it was Reed mentioned like, oh, I use AI to help me break down material so that I can sort of understand it a little bit better or a little bit quicker. Yeah, these are I think the reasons why China are doing one thing. Again, I can't really speak to it because their culture and society is built differently. But it is, I think that is part of a really crucial question of like, that goes back to the first question. Do we believe that we're still learning if we're using AI? And I think people had various answers. I tend to be more on the side of, well, I think we have to be extremely mindful of how we're using AI in our learning process.
Yeah, one of the examples they gave was that they said that they did a study and they were finding that students were all giving the same answers, and they were thinking that it was coming from AI giving those same answers to solutions. So they were just like they thought that was a bad trend for student learning.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a little bit outside the scope of this discussion, but it's more. I think that's more on the education policy side and understanding how our education systems look. But yeah.
And I saw some other hands raised, but due to time, feel free to pull Tyler aside after this and ask more questions as follow-up. But yeah, quick round of applause. Thanks again, Tyler, for the content. Appreciate it. Okay, next I'd like to welcome up Andy to the stage. Andy, if you're ready, feel free to take your time. To talk about Agent Vouch. So yes, big round of applause for Andy. Take it away, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. I think it's just like loading or whatever. There we go. Cool. Make sure. All right. I'm Andy, and I'm presenting on Agent Vouch, which is a reputation and skills marketplace for the agent economy. And we're hoping to replace stars, fake GitHub stars, and fake download counts with skin in the game. So first, we'll start with what are skills? Who here has used skills before? Claude, OpenClaw, ChatGPT. Okay, nice. So I think Neo from The Matrix is a perfect example. He gets plugged in, and the mouse guy downloads and installs martial arts for Neo, and now he knows Kung Fu. Works a lot like that with agents. So basically, a skill is just a folder or a single skill MD file or a folder of instructions, scripts, and resources that gives your agent capabilities it didn't have before and domain expertise. So for example, you want your agent to be an expert in Solana development. You can download a Solana dev skill, and it'll know how to use the SVM, the Solana virtual machine, and it'll be able to build out contracts for you and do all that fun stuff. Can also be things that are a little more like fluid, like Amazon shopping or like building out trading bots and things like that. The nice thing about skills is they're reusable. You just write it once, and then they're also portable, so you can take that same skill and use it in Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Asterisk, Claw. They're super easy to install. Usually you can just tell your agent, hey, go find a skill. It'll go find it, drop it in, and install it. There's no you don't have to wire things up. It'll usually just do all that for you. And then they're flexible. You can write them anything that's describable in Markdown or scripts, you can ship as a skill. The problem with skills is, or at least skills as they are today, is it's an untrusted nightmare. So a lot of you might have heard back in February, the top downloaded skill on OpenClaw's Claw Hub was a skill that taught your agent to steal your SSH keys and open reverse shells, and that shipped inside 1,184 packages before anyone noticed. And it's not a one-off. So agentic social engineering is a thing. For instance, on Maltbook, agents can farm karma from each other, build fake reputation, use the GitHub fake star method, and then cash in on that built-up social credit. That's essentially free or very cheap to fake. And the outcomes are things like drained Solana wallets. That just happened a couple weeks ago, where agent built up a bunch of fake social credit and then used that reputation to exfiltrate or publish skills that exfiltrated Solana keys and data. So it keeps happening because there's no signing. Like, you don't really know who's publishing this stuff and whether they're actually reputable. Going back to the fake reputation problem, there's no sandboxing. Agents just can kind of take a skill and run with it, and sometimes you don't know what's happening on the back end. I've had that happen personally with OpenClaw, testing out things in my GitHub, like opening PRs. I'm like, don't do that. Write that down in your memory not to do that. So there's still some constraints needed there. They're free to publish, free to install, but expensive to audit. Anybody can install a skill and build out fake reputation, but it's expensive, time and resource consumptive to audit. And then there's no audit trail. You don't know. There's no like registry as far as like global registry as far as like who's publishing skills, who's buying these skills. So this gets worse when you think about how we're entering like into like an autonomous agent era where agents are just going to be running by themselves. There's not going to be a human in the loop. Something being referred to as Web 4, where agents are just going to be acting completely autonomously, and they'll be spinning off their own child agents, sub-agents, and if the parent agent has a skill that is poisoned, all those children agents are going to inherit that poisoned skill, which is no bueno. And then a supply chain attack and a self-replicating agent economy is an extinction level event for trust. So we definitely want to hammer out this, this agent trust issue before we start giving more and more responsibility to agents. So we have an ecosystem trust gap. We have our open but untrusted and risky skills platforms as they are today. Anyone publishes, anyone installs. The only trust signal we have is, as we talked about earlier, something easily faked like GitHub stars or downloader counts. So they're easy to use but dangerous to trust. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have the trusted but closed marketplaces or platforms. So they're curated and safe, but every provider has their own platform for skills, and Anthropic isn't necessarily going to ship you a Amazon shopping skill or a Coinbase skill, and then they're not really covering the long tail like your Volos, your UPSs, your local government interfaces. So that's where Agent Skills or Agent Vouch's skill marketplace comes in. It's kind of combines the best of both worlds. It's open but trusted. It's open publishing but with reputation attached. That reputation comes from skin in the game, economic skin in the game, as opposed to just easily faked skill stars and downloads. So we'll go a little bit more into how the staking and economic skin in the game works, but it brings trust to these sort of left tail or long tail niche skills where people can upload personal Amazon shopping, autonomous trading, crypto trading, or traditional finance trading, pull government data sets. So things that like the big LLM or skills providers aren't going to necessarily want to ever publish. So what Agent Vouch introduces is reputation with consequences. So without consequence, it's just kind of noise. So the stars and download amounts are just noise. Agent Vouch makes it expensive to trust and profitable to maintain that trust. So that's done through staked-based vouching. So authors can publish a skill, and then users who like the author or like the skill can stake crypto to that author, signaling that they trust the author. And it kind of works like that in real life, where when you vouch for somebody in real life and they do good work, it makes you look good. But if you vouch for somebody who does bad work, they steal the office printer or whatever, makes you look bad. So that's sort of a digital equivalent using economic skin in the game. There is slashing, which is a way to punish people for publishing bad skills. So malicious skills can get challenged. If an author who publishes a malicious skill loses the challenge, they lose some of their stake, and that stake is rewarded to the person that opened the challenge, as well as the people that purchased the skill as sort of like an insurance policy payout. And then the cool thing about this being all on chain is that it builds a trust graph, so you're able to see who published what and link that to who purchased the skill, who downloaded the skill. And then on top of that, you can build like transitive trust. So like if A trusts B and B trusts C, then A can trust C. So that's not implemented yet, but that's sort of the next steps with building out the agent vouch trust graph. So the current flow is you or your agent, you can go on the agent vouch dashboard and find a skill, or you can go on Discord and talk to your agent and say, hey, go find a skill that does Solana development or whatever. It'll go find a skill. It will, once it's already read like how agent vouch works via the skill, the agent vouch skill.md, it'll know like, okay, I should look for authors with a high reputation score. And so it should come back. It usually comes back and says, hey, I found these good skills. The trust signals are good. Do you want me to download it? And there's two types of skill listings. There's paid listings. So authors and vouchers put money on the line to ensure the skills are clean. And then there are free skills. In that case, the author puts down an author bond. It's sort of a form of self-staking. That way, if an author publishes a free skill that is malicious, the vouchers aren't being punished for it. And that's a way to still allow free skills while keeping that accountability gap closed or minimal. And then finally, the skills get installed just like any other marketplace. And there's an on-chain account that stores the reputation score for all the agents and or authors / agents, and that's updated in real time, and the skills inherit that from the author profile. So how do you make money on agent vouch? So it's rewards honest vouching and honest publishing of skills. The skill author retains 60% of the revenue and then shares the remaining 40% with all the vouchers who are staking and giving that author trust signal. So it's a way to incentivize trusting and like putting skin in the game as far as your trust goes, both of which increase your reputation score. And this creates a flywheel. So vouchers back quality skills that are clean, the quality skills earn revenue, and the revenue rewards the author and the vouchers. Malicious skills get slashed, decreasing, the ability for publishers to have their skill downloaded and be trusted. Bug hunters are rewarded, and like I mentioned earlier, people that downloaded the malicious skill also have the capability of being compensated from that slashing in case that happens. And then through this flywheel, the ecosystem converges on trust. So there is X402 involved, so no human in the loop is required. It just goes through the X402 payment flow. Right now, you do need to fund your agent right now. This is through a Solana wallet, but there are cross-chain capabilities being implemented. So eventually, the idea is like you don't even know this is all like on a blockchain. You would be able to just like connect your Stripe and give your agent like a Stripe wallet or like any kind of wallet, and it'll be able to use the skills marketplace. To that point, you can't connect a bank account yet, but the idea is, again, that this will all kind of happen in the back end your agent will just be able to use these trust signals to download skills that aren't going to get you wrecked. And then finally, and then dispute resolution. So there's going back to like the paid purchasing and the paid listings and the free listings. You can open an author dispute, and it targets both the author and all the vouchers up for that author. The author bond is slashed first if the dispute is upheld against them, and then the challenger receives that slashed amount of SOL, and then with the paid listing, as I mentioned earlier, the free listing, as I mentioned earlier, the authors put up. You have to self-stake to even be able to list a free skill. Again, that closes the accountability gap. It allows people to still be able to publish free skills for like distribution or demos or testing without putting people that are vouching for them in danger of being slashed. So what's left to build, or what's already built, we already have. You can register your agent or yourself. You can vouch, dispute, resolve. You can update your listings. You can remove your listings. Say you upload something and you're like, this might be malicious or could be malicious in the future. You can update the skill. That's all recorded on chain 2, like the versioning is all recorded. And then I'm building out a CLI that's not published yet, but you'll be able to just like run this command to automatically update all your skills, which is pretty cool. And then on the roadmap, there's some work to be done on code signing and content integrity, how disputes are resolved. Right now, it's sort of like I'm the key, like the arbiter of truth, and I don't want to be the arbiter of truth. It's too much responsibility. So like to either go a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization where people can like vote on whether a skill is malicious or not, or something like a agentic decentralized Oracle network where you have like a ChatGPT, a Claude, a Gemini, a Quen, whatever, and it's sort of like a council, and they can all sort of come to an outcome independently by kind of debating and arguing against each other. And I think that's cool too, because that kind of would automate the dispute resolution process. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I would like stable coins to be the native stake, just because it's pegged to something stable. Solana can like be volatile, and that can affect your reputation score. So having the reputation score kind of grounded in something stable would be good in the long term, and also kind of bring those like cross-chain capabilities to the forefront. And then the mainnet deployment, so it's still in DevNet. Everything's still in testing. If you go to the skills marketplace, you'll see like a lot of joke skills and how to be a funny agent and things like that. How to learn how to do kung fu, things like that. So I'll pull up a couple demo videos here. Hopefully this works in my favor. Let me see. No. I need the opposite of audio, actually. Here we go. So, oh no. Okay, let me try something. So here's this is in my Discord. This is Sparky OpenClaw. It's my OpenClaw agent named Sparky. I'm just like, hey, go fetch the agent vouch skill. It already has it, but I just want to make sure it's up to date. And happy I recorded this because sometimes agents, you don't know what they're doing in the background. So there it checks the SHA-256 to make sure what it downloaded matches what's installed in its workspace. Now, let's minimize. Sorry about that. So here's OpenClaw downloading how to be a funny agent. And there we go. So it runs down how much it cost, the skill ID, what the reputation score of the author was, and then it also tells you where it installed it. Pretty thorough. And let's go. Close that out. And then I ask OpenClaw to publish a how to do Kung Fu skill. And so it published a skill. I ask it to link it, and then let's go, we'll check this skill out. Once it makes it a paid listing, and there's your how to do Kung Fu skill. And then finally, I ask it to vouch for another author, but I can leave that out for now and go right to our questions. Just give me 1 second here. All right, so that was the live demo. So at the end of the day, this trust infrastructure isn't going to be optional. It's going to be an immune system for the agent economy. Without something like this, we'll either have the walled off garden skill problem or the untrusted malicious skill problem. And yeah. There's, the website is agentvouch.xyz. If you want your agent to know how to use it, you just point it at agentvouch.xyz/skill.md. It'll go learn everything you need to know to use AgentVouch. This is all open source, MIT licensed. There's a AgentVouch Twitter. That's my LinkedIn, and yeah. Any questions?
Very, very cool. Yeah, any questions for Andy here? I'll go ahead and repeat the questions just to help out, but looks like there's one in the back.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, really cool. Looks great. I was curious if there is a difference between skills that are vouched for by users versus by agents. Is there any kind of weighting, or is it treated the same? It just matters how much soul you put down for doing the vouching.
Yeah, the latter. It's Oh, do you want to repeat it for
yeah,
the live
so the
stream?
question is there any difference between a skill published by an agent versus a person or human?
Maybe I could say it again. That wasn't maybe the clearest way to phrase that. I guess like reputation-wise, the reputation that's given to the skill is treated the same. It's just based on how much soul is given. It doesn't matter if agents put down that soul or whether actual like users.
So on the vouching side, is the reputation or vouching given by an agent versus a human weighted differently? Is that okay?
Nope, it's weighted the same because the idea is like the economic value is where the weight comes from. Whether it's the agent losing money or the user losing or putting money on the line versus a human user, it doesn't matter. It's that there's actual money on the line.
Just a quick follow-up to that, and like maybe it's not a problem. Just in my head, the reason I thought of that was because it's like a two-edged marketplace where you get money for like selling the skill, right? So if you were to put up a skill and then just like have your own agents just keep vouching for it, it kind of ends up being a thing where even if that's not the best skill for that thing, perhaps that will push it to the top of the leaderboard and therefore get more installs and potentially get you money. I don't know if that's a cycle or kind of thing you had thought about. That was just something I thought.
Yeah, that's sort of the Sybil attack problem. That's where slashing comes in. So that's why bug hunters or malicious skill hunters are incentivized to look for that sort of behavior. So even if that like it sort of bypasses like the Sybil attack check, they're still accountable and vulnerable to being slashed if they publish because they're putting money on the line. They'll lose money if they could theoretically lose money for doing something like that and publishing a skill. I mean, if you're doing that and publishing honest skills, I don't really see a problem with that because you're still putting your money on the line. So.
Question over here.
Will you post bounties?
What was the question?
Would you post bounties?
Would you post bounties?
What do you mean by that?
Like on Stack Overflow, you're like, ask this question, I'll give you so much reputation. If you answer my question.
The Solana is the bounty, I think is what he's saying.
It is.
So to ask that similar question differently, what keeps me from just filing 1 million disputes, one on every
Okay,
skill you
good
have?
question. So how do you treat spam of disputes?
So it's similar to, well, at a high level, if when you file a dispute, you have to put down a bond. So it's like you have to put money down to say, hey, this is malicious. If it's ruled against you as like you're the challenger, you have to pay something to open a dispute. If it goes against you, then you lose your bond. So that's gonna prevent spam bonding or bond spamming because you have to pay something each time you lose. If you win the challenge, then you get your bond back. Does that make sense? It's sort of like in with cryptocurrencies, there's a fee to send crypto. A lot of that is to prevent spamming the network. So because it can be extremely expensive to try to like spam attack a network. So the idea behind the bond is to make it expensive to spam challenges.
Any other questions for Andy?
And then as far as like I mean, that's something that could potentially be added. I think like at a high level, I think the reputation thing, the reputation part, we don't know how long skills are going to be here for. Skills could be here till the end of the year or beyond, but skills are kind of like a way to bootstrap that reputation. And in the future, it could be something that's not skills. It could just be another tool, but that reputation is still on chain and can be used for other things like, like a bounty hunter or like hiring agents to do tasks, right? Like, oh, I have this problem. You post it and then an agent could go solve that problem and then you pay that agent based on the outcome of its solution, and you can pick which agent goes to solve the problem based on its reputation.
Very cool. I think I had one question
Okay.
as well. And if anyone else, so okay, one question here.
So, I understand something that is blatantly malicious, something hidden in there, send me your keys or something like that. But what about if it's kind of a gray area where it's a skill that maybe doesn't work as well as it should, or it has potential to be abused, but it's not as blatantly malicious? Is there a concern that, like, let's say I create a skill that is useful, but, maybe there's some flaws in it?
Buffer overflow.
So the question
What happens
is
if someone puts a bond on it and calls me out on it? Well, I wasn't being malicious,
how do you? So the question is, how do you deal with disputing gray area on the threshold of is it malicious and therefore it's slashed, or is it not malicious, therefore the disputer bounty is lost? How do you deal with gray areas there?
That is an open design question. If it's gray area, it depends on if it's. I would say that if it is actually like hurting the users of it, then it doesn't really matter if it was malicious or whether it was malicious intent or not. It's about the outcome. Like, did it hurt users? And I think ultimately that's what you'll be judged on, or you should be judged on. And keeping it like that, I think will keep that incentive going to like make sure your skills are clean and you test your skills. You don't just like publish stuff willy-nilly. Not saying you would personally, but that people aren't just like spamming skills, that people are being thoughtful, or if they have their agent do it, that they're spending their tokens wisely. And I think that's another cool thing about like a skills marketplace. It's like, would you rather build out a skill yourself and spend $10 in tokens and hours testing it and having your agent spend that time making it, or would you rather have like a marketplace where there is accountability? You don't have to even spend $10 for a skill. I mean, it could be pennies just to download the skill. I think that's makes a clear case for why a paid marketplace for skills makes sense. So
Very cool. I'll ask a question then. My question is hopefully not trying to be or taken as a gotcha, but I was thinking about this a little bit, and my question is, earlier in your slides you mentioned I can't remember how you put it, but a very 0-day apocalyptic scenario within the skills kind of field, or right now, where if a skill is a worm of skills and starts to propagate itself throughout a whole marketplace of skills, that would be very bad. So we need to solve that. So my question to you is, how does this system prevent such situations where a skill with low trust gets installed by a author that has skills with high trust, and they're exploited, and therefore exploiting a large portion of the network's trust? Does that make sense? And is the answer that every single skill published is vouched independently by version, or is there another solution?
as it stands right now, when you update a skill, it's updated in place. That is a good point, where each time a skill is updated, it should be double checked by the author and people who are validating skills. The idea in the future is that there's at least some sort of like automated baseline where Agent Vouch will automatically sandbox the skill, like run the skill in a container, see if there's any, have a couple different LLM providers run the skill in a sort of sandbox environment, and be able to say, like at first glance, like, okay, the skill is now malicious. So the hope would be that would close off that attack vector too.
Proactively catch supply chain attacks in that sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. All right. Any other questions for Andy? If not, Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank
Round
you.
of applause. All right. Okay, give me 1 second to bring this back up. Awesome contents from the kind of more philosophical, exploratory realm down to the very practical skills, hard facts. Let's figure out how to solve some of these real world challenges in the AI space. I appreciate this content. So one more round of applause for both of our speakers, please. Great work there. Yeah, with that said, moving on to the next portion, away from our speakers, it's now your chance to get up on stage. If you are interested in announcing or introducing yourself, this is your opportunity. If you're new to the community, you can say hi, introduce yourself. Maybe you would like to share what you're about, why you're here. Maybe you're looking to connect with someone, so maybe you can shout out, hey, I need to find another developer or designer, etc. Maybe you have a project or idea you want to share really quick. Or some other event or activity you're doing. You know, outside of DevX community, we're very big on like being cross community in San Diego. So if there's some other thing you want to announce that you're doing or you know of and you'd like to invite others, that's your opportunity. We'll keep it very short, 15 seconds, so it's very easy. Any show of hands of anyone who would like to just say hi? Yes, in the back. Feel free to line up front over here. We'll just keep it really quick and sweet. And yeah, tell us who you are and what you're about.
How's it going? Good. All right, good to be back. So my name is Lucas Cooper Bay. I brought this so I could read it, so when I get nervous, I can actually deliver what I'm trying to say. I'm putting on a monthly laptop and lobster lunch in OB at a coffee shop called The Template, where we just eat lobster rolls and talk about where we're going with things, what we're building, how our agentic systems are set up, just what we're messing around with. And it would be a cool opportunity to just show each other our claws and how we set shit up and what we're using for security and how we're having fun. So just a place to eat and chill and get to know each other and build cool stuff. Yeah.
And that's how do you find that? How do you find that? Look at it. Come talk to Jason, right? Luke, sorry. Yeah, Lucas. A lot of people today, so talk to Lucas if you guys want to eat some lobsters. Talk about lobsters. Cool. Anyone else? I saw another show of hands. Yeah, come on up stage. Feel free. There's a QR code. Perfect. Yeah. So name what you're about, what you're interested in sharing with the community.
I'm Kate. Hi. So I am here to announce that DevX will be putting on their first AI paper club, which if you're familiar with SDX at all, you might be missing those paper clubs. And this is put on by the same folks and is going to be a very similar experience. So this is where we get together and share papers on the state of the art in machine learning and AI, and discuss and network and have a great time. And it's pretty cool. So this is on Luma. It's going to be May 7th at 7 p.m. at the League of Amazing Programmers.
Quick shout out. That's an example of how we in the community just love to support you guys. So if you ever want to volunteer such as that and bring something on to extend DevX, talk to us. So yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that announcement. I saw another show of hands earlier. Anyone else want to come up and say hi? Yeah, come on up. Come on up. All right. Name what you're about.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, hi guys, my name is Jason. What else? Yeah, and currently my last quarter in my undergraduate degree at UCSD. I love engineering, I love building and shipping. It's my second time coming to this community. I just love to connect and talk with everyone here. Yeah, I'm excited to connect. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Thank you. Jason, right? All right. That was where it came from. So good to see you again, Jason. Jonathan, I already know, one of our volunteers here. Looks like you have an announcement to make.
Yeah, let's hope this shows up on that screen there. Will it? Yeah? Yeah, there we go. Does anyone have a phone on them?
Scan this random QR.
I promise it's not malicious.
Did you vouch for that?
I need some people to vouch for this. No, this is a survey link. One of the things that I'm trying to get better at is just getting more input from you all here, and to make changes on future events, whether it's weekend function or other events, based on your input. So if you are willing to share your experience, I would love it if you would head to that URL. I'll also be walking around asking for input. But yeah, if you would head there and give feedback. Just so I can get an idea, I don't see many of you getting that. So how many are actually seriously considering filling out a survey? Raise your hand. So a small, I don't know, that's like 10%. Okay. So if you're on the fence, it would mean a lot, because I'm happy to put in energy to do things differently, but I need information. So if you are willing, I would seriously appreciate it. Yeah, we'd go so far as to get you pizza and just tell me what you want. We need to work on our communication here. Okay, just kidding.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea as well. Link on the channels. I might even shoot out an email for everybody who attended. That would be great. So, thanks, Jonathan. Very important. Thank you again for all your work and putting that together. Because yeah, we want to hear from you guys. That's why we do this, and that's why we have a short little segment for you guys. This is for you. So, anyone else want to quickly say hi as well? Yeah, come on up. All right. Who are you and what you're about?
Yeah, my name's Sandeep. I work on a lot of things these days, but my background is in hardware, embedded systems, firmware, Bluetooth, IoT, connected devices. If any of those are of interest to you, come talk to me. Thanks.
Thanks, Sandeep. All right, anyone else? Last call. All right, I think that is it. Again, if you feel free to just announce later as well if you get a spur of inspiration. But thank you guys. Appreciate you coming to up on stage, and I know it takes a little bit of guts to like be up on here on the stage, but we're all here for you. So we're a friendly community. We're not gonna bite. So, but final little announcement segment from DevX. To close it off, we always ask, hey, if you love this community, you want to be more a part of it, we encourage you to check out our website, DEVx.network. This is our central place where you can find a community of profiles and become a member. We do that through a little thing called name tags. It's just a little profile to kind of say, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm about. You can say your interests, your technologies that you're interested in and things like that. Once you're on there, you can also submit a talk if you want to be up on stage. You want to work on your speaking skills, your soft skills, so to speak. We highly encourage that. So once you have your profile, you can submit a talk of interest. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that. We have a community of awesome people such as yourselves that will just feel like, I want to really share this thing, such as Agent Vouch, or even just an idea, right? Like that's what we're all about, is sharing and inspiring. So it's also a place where you can see all of our channels to stay connected. We have a Discord that's pretty active with humans and AI alike, so feel free to check that out. We encourage you to check out our LinkedIn. If you're more on the business side of things, or you're trying to get your career going, connect here, because that's where we're going to really build out that part of our community. We do have an X. We don't know what to do with that quite yet, but you can follow us on X as well as our YouTube. That's where we're live streaming right now. So This gives you a chance to see of our old content, our old live streams. That's all right there. So if you ever miss an event, check out our YouTube regularly. And then, of course, we have our Luma calendar. We have a whole event calendar built on the site. We publish to other places, but Luma is our main place where you can see all of our events coming up. We have it scheduled for the year. We'll throw in some new events as they come in, such as the Paper Club, Claw Club, and whatnot. So, yeah, check out our Luma. And, yeah, thank you so much for coming. Here's our QR code. Let's have an awesome rest of the event. And I appreciate the speakers, you guys, for your attention. And, yeah, thanks again for making DevX what it is today. I really appreciate you. Can't say that enough. So thanks again.